And we are live. What's going on? MMA Uncensored, back at it again. It is Wednesday, November 1st. We're cracking open the penultimate month in the year 2023. I feel like, I don't know if this is focused or not. I'll get a little closer, get a little more intimate. You know what I mean? We're back. Yep. Let's open up November with an interesting recap here. And you can see I'm in the turtleneck. I do have the belt buckle on. We're down in the Dominican Republic. What an insane country and venue for Karate Combat 42. Make sure you tune into KC 42 live on karate.com and for free on Karate Combat's YouTube. That's right. I did say it, all four of those letters, FREE. You don't want to miss it. First trilogy in the history of the organization and the first female title fight. Don't miss KC42. Now let's get back at it, guys. Ariel Helwani and Sonnen, and that's in the name of the video. That's in the description, and we break it down. I just finished watching it. I missed the MMA Hour stream earlier today where they had Chael on, but I saw some buzz. I saw a little buzz about it. You know, hey, Helwani and Sonnen went at it. Chael was fiery today. Ariel was angry, and so I figured I had to watch it, and I don't know if I want to use the phrase did not disappoint. I don't know if I want to use the phrase did not disappoint, but I do want to use the phrase mildly uncomfortable. Just mildly. I mean, if you're looking for great theater and good back and forth, a somewhat hostile conversation at points, then boom, you found it. It's a 50-minute YouTube video on MMA Fighting's channel. I think it might be the most recent upload, so it is the most current vid up there. And the whole reason why it broke down was Ariel brings Chael on, and they start talking about Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. Again, that's been the big talk of the town for the last number of days since the fight. And immediately they get to a collision of, I think, what each guy wanted to really get into. Chael Sonnen wanted to talk about the competitiveness. He wanted to talk about how over the course of 10 rounds, Francis Ngannou, a guy that we all counted out, a guy that we all assumed would be knocked senseless within 5 minutes, went the distance. And not only that, he knocked down the heavyweight champion, the undefeated Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, scores a knockdown and won several rounds. The competitiveness, I think, is what Chael Sonnen wanted to get into. The side that Ariel wanted to get into seemed to be how big of a win this was for Francis. And I realized that he, over the last couple of shows on the MMA Hour, has been sort of not taking receipts. I don't want to say taking receipts, but certainly holding some people accountable, maybe, that really doubted Francis, that really felt that this was a bad move. He fumbled the bag, as we have a literal leather bag with that lettering. Ariel wanted to hold people accountable for it, but I guess today was just the wrong day to try and put that on the Chael Sonnen. And Chael's a slippery guy to put in a corner. Chael Sonnen is, as we know, the meanest arms in Westland, Oregon. Not a guy that you really can track into a corner easily. And I think both guys had some decent points. You know, I think Chael had a pretty good, I don't want to say understanding, because Ariel vehemently disagrees with everything that he said. But, you know, Chael's bringing up some kind of standards of the business, some not best practices maybe, but some of the understood practices, some of the more common practices of contract negotiations in the world of boxing, where guys like Eddie Hearn, guys like Don King, guys, you know, other promoters, they'll typically sign to a 3-fight contract. That's why you see these guys who, Devin Haney's a great example. He was top ranked for 3 fights. Now he's at Matchroom, right? So boom, example there. And Ariel's perspective was, well, this was a one-off. Why can't it be done again? You know, and how was he able to do it? And it kept running in circles about Chael reiterating these industry standards and Ariel contesting, hey, we're witnessing maybe history, maybe a different era. And I think that the Saudi Arabian kind of the money that they have can definitely change the standard practices. It can definitely get away from what Chael is referring to with 3-fight deals and all that. They don't care. Again, I mean, it's a guy that's willing to lose $100 million. He doesn't care. They signed Messi to what, nearly $1 billion to come play soccer or football, as many people would call it. I'll use both terms. So I don't, I think that there is a lot of validity in the perspective of this isn't what we're used to. This type of contract negotiation isn't historically what you can draw and reference. Therefore, bringing them up in a conversation and going, well, this is, how the business operates and why it can't happen moving forward. I think it's a little unfair. I think it's a little not close-minded necessarily, but clearly it did happen. And with those same entities and people in place, I don't understand why it wouldn't happen again. Especially with a guy like Francis Ngannou that has just captured some serious steam and star power with this performance. I can totally see it happening again. And the other clash was about the money. And the pay-per-view. We'll get to the pay-per-view in a moment, but the money, Ariel's saying, hey, 10 million to 20 million. That's kind of the range that we're expecting with the flat fee and then the pay-per-view points. Chael suggesting because that the pay-per-view bombed, per his sources and info, there wouldn't be an extra $10 million. He thought it was completely perplexing that another 10 million would even be in conversation, stating, per his own words, it's a 100% increase. However, in combat sports, we often see drastic increases. I mean, astronomical increases in terms of bonuses and pay-per-view points. I mean, think about, with McGregor, some of those pay-per-view points are unbelievable. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think another $10 million is completely out of the question. It all boils down to information that's probably not going to be public knowledge. It's about the contract. It's about the exact numbers and figures and percentages that are used. I don't see that coming to light. Therefore, everything anyone really says is just complete hearsay. It's their opinion, or it's an inside source that has given them the info, but they, of course, can't publicly divulge that information and get credibility that way. So it really, I don't want to say it was a he said, she said type situation, but it's a clash of two guys, one of which is saying, hey, the pay-per-view bombed, one of which is saying there's another $10 million potentially here for Tyson, and neither is going to reveal who gave what to who. And I felt like it was running in circles at times. And that's as much as both guys sort of said. They're getting nowhere. This is going in circles. And that's why I said that it was mildly uncomfortable. Why I felt like it was a little uncomfortable to see two guys in Ariel and Chael who have, been friends, who have worked together for many years, get to this point and use, the language with each other and kind of again, like hostility. It felt like there was some genuine tension and back and forth anger. And I felt bad. I'm like, guys, this doesn't need to escalate to the point where, Chael saying, I'm going to strangle you, and Ariel saying things like, fuck this and fuck you. I was like, fuck, this is intense. Again, great theater, great TV. I mean, we're all in sports entertainment, and boy, isn't that entertaining. But on the same hand, I'm like, I don't know if because again, I feel if Chael's perspective, and a lot of the arguments were about his 3-fight deal that people get signed to, and Ariel saying no, they can definitely just continue doing one-offs. If the industry standard is 3-fight deals, if the industry standard is, hey, usually here's what happens, then there's value to that. And I think that should be recognized a little. But that, again, in the same hand, it happened once, it can happen again with the same people, and we're playing by some new rules. So each guy, I think, needed to grasp onto what the other was saying a little bit deeper. Again, I'm not saying agendas. I'm not saying uh they're chatting with a point to prove or something to to your motive. But again, I mean, Ariel has been taking the receipts on some people, and Chael's not a guy to take receipts on. Admittedly, Chael's just not a guy to take receipts on. I don't think he's a slick talker, and he's always been. That's why we love him. But I don't know. I mean, it was a 50-minute back and forth duel over perspectives that I didn't think needed to go that far. And Chael, in several instances, was like, I felt I was coming on here today to talk about the competitiveness. I thought I was going to be talking about how good Francis did. And I kind of wish at some point they had done that. I kind of wish at some point they said, yeah, let's just put a pin in this, or we can agree to disagree. And get back to that. Again, as an interviewer, I feel it's important to have the interviewee having a good time, feeling comfortable in the environment. And I recognize the point was, hey, I'm trying to fuck, the D-backs just struck out. That's a true shame. First and third, and just a ground ball to third base. Or no, yep, shortstop, and fuck. Do I have the World Series on? Do I have the World Series? Maybe. Guys, I'm from Arizona. We shouldn't have made it to the World Series, but here we are. So maybe I'll give you some play-by-play of that. I don't know. I think at some point the conversation should have just shifted to, let's talk about the competitiveness, which, I mean, again, is a topic that we've bashed into the ground. I'm pretty sure that every individual has commended, given praise, given flowers to the effort of Francis Ngannou. It would be at this point not redundant, but we've talked about the competitiveness and the surprise. So for Chael to think that he'd go on and just kind of beat the dead horse a little bit, interesting. But again, I mean, it's truly a performance that you can't say enough about. So I do get it. And again, I'm not sure. I guess I probably should have watched the actual MMA Hour stream and then the couple minutes afterwards. I know GC had something about the hostility, or Ariel was saying something about unsure where the hostility came from. I think I know where it came from. I mean, it is originating from frustration with having someone try and get the checks and balances out of you. The hostility came from being backed into a verbal corner and a differing perspectives. And I don't think, again, each guy was willing to recognize the validity in the other person's point. And the comment section was the same way. I mean, if you go through the YouTube on it, the comment section is equally as divided. I'm seeing 10-7 Chaels, 10-7 Helwanis. Those are vastly different scorecards to walk away from this one. So I'm not sure. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I hope that maybe there was a level of theatrics or hamming it up, ribbing it off of one another. And I really would hate for them to have a issue. Again, they've worked together for like a decade, over a decade, and I don't know. I think that some validity was there for everybody, especially, again, if I think back 3 months, Ariel was one of the only people that was saying this is great for Francis. This is a good move. The mass audience was saying walking away from the UFC, firing your manager. Can't forget all the issues with Fernando Lopez and the MMA factory that Ngannou had. It did seem like he was maybe the common denominator of several things, and not all of them positive, right? So the court of public opinion, I don't think, was as on board with Ngannou as, of course, as much as Ariel was. And I know that on like Monday's show, he was literally bringing up tweets that he had bookmarked and just going through literally case by case, checking people. And more power to him. It's his show. If that's what he wants to do, that's fine. And who cares, but I don't know. I felt like a conversation was more beneficial than I have a point I want to prove versus, another person. And especially if that was kind of blindsiding Chael a little bit. And granted, the conversation devolved and ended up where it ended up. But yeah, there are a lot of questions. There are a lot of moments where you just kind of, you sit and marinate with it. And again, the word that I would use is just a little uncomfortable. Just a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Uh, and I hope for their sakes that's all good and we see Chill back on. If they Because again, I mean, Ariel and the Bad Guy, that is a property. That is a show that they had done, and I love the dynamic between the two of them. And if we could get Chael Sonnen in every single show, that'd be great. I think it'd be great theater. So that's that. That's the first part of this stream was Ariel Helwani and Chael Sonnen going at it on the MMA Hour. Your thoughts, absolutely appreciated. Would love to hear it. And the second part is our guy, Derrick the Black Beast Lewis, going 136, and I believe it was a 55 or a 60 zone. What the fuck? This came, and I'll say this: Houston Fox News, or whatever the Twitter account was that first broke this news. He was arrested, a week and a half ago. It's not like Derrick Lewis was yesterday speeding in a school zone in Texas. That's not the case, but that's what it seemed. That's how the narrative that they played is that Derrick Lewis was arrested several days before his fight. No, he's down in fucking Brazil. He is in Sao Paulo signing posters while they're breaking news about an arrest that happened a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. The bail was $100. I don't know what that oh shit, innings over. Top of the second, we cooked him. D-backs getting back on base. We got Alec Thomas and Evan Longoria, 2 of the 3 at bats. Let's go, D-backs. Yeah, I think it's dumb that they broke that news yesterday. I feel like that should have been something 9 days ago that was reported on and covered when it happened. Dropping it now, middle of fight week, seems just a little curious. And again, admittedly, maybe the documents or like the arrest record wasn't made public until yesterday. Maybe there's some validity in that. The paperwork pushing prevented this from being public knowledge. I'm not sure. I won't pretend to know the ins and outs of the legal system when you have to go to jail for going 136 and a 55. I'm not sure. I don't know about that. I've never been arrested, shockingly. Maybe I should try. Maybe what would be a good idea is going 136 and a 55. And then I could say from direct firsthand experience what that is like. But either way, again, the bail's $100. It's a single Benjamin. You know what I mean? So I can't imagine that it's that serious of a hold on a second. I don't want to say that serious of a crime. But clearly they don't think it's that crazy if the bail's only $100. I thought that was federal criminal speeding. I thought that was like that was when you hit that 136 and a 55. I thought when you hit a certain level over what the speed limit was, it becomes a federal thing, and boy, isn't that an issue. But I guess not. The bail's only $100, and he's in Sao Paulo getting ready for his UFC main event. What do I know? Not much. Talking about that matchup, Jailton Almeida and Derrick the Black Beast Lewis combined finishes within 2 minutes. I saw someone tweet this the other day. Combined amount of finishes inside 2 minutes is 17 between the two. 120 seconds, and they have finished 17 different professional mixed martial arts bouts within that time span. A lot of them in the UFC. You think about literally Derrick Lewis's last fight. It was a 45-second TKO of Marcos Rogerio de Lima. So am I anticipating a quick finish here on Saturday night in Sao Paulo, Brazil, on ESPN Plus? Yes, absolutely. This one's not going long. Can't go long. It cannot go long. It simply can't. We've seen Jailton Almeida bulldoze through people with superior grappling. He gets you to the ground, and then it's either a submission or he will just hammer you with some unbelievable ground and pound. But here's the but. I'm not sold on this grappling of Jailton Almeida. I'm not sold on it. How can I be? He's shooting the wackiest double leg on Jairzinho Rosenstrike I've ever seen. It's a crazy double leg. Go look at it. Jairzinho is in center of the octagon. Jalton just drops and goes and is pushing. He's just pushing the weight backwards. If Jairzinho knew how to defend a double leg takedown, that would have been defended. But instead, his stance got all, tightened up. The legs got close together, and Jalton was able to bring him down to the canvas. But it wasn't a pretty takedown by any means. I encourage you to go look it up. It was not a pretty takedown. And against a guy like Derrick Lewis, I'm not sure that level of wrestling is going to be successful. I'm not sure that level of grappling is going to be successful. This is the guy that Curtis Blades was afraid to shoot on. This is the guy that so many Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners couldn't submit. They failed to submit him. He'd either stand back up or his neck would be too fat for the submission. Go talk to Alexei Olenek. It's a great matchup, in my opinion, and a good litmus test for Jalton at 265. I've seen nothing but questions about whether or not Almeida is making the right choice here, being at heavyweight, above a weight class he started in. People feel like 205 should be the place for one Jalton Almeida. Maybe they're correct. Maybe that's a fine perspective. There's not as many grapplers at 205. They aren't as big as they are at heavyweight. Hasn't been a problem yet. I think he's 12-0, 13-0. Has not been a problem yet. But again, Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Derrick Lewis are two very different opponents. And I think we've got a black beast with some steam. I think we have a Derrick Lewis who's got a little bit of moxie to him following this 45-second TKO. And again, he's the all-time leader in knockouts. It's not like a TKO means the world to him. I don't know at this point. He's got, 17 knockouts inside the UFC? I believe it's 17. But I can't help but feel, following that one, how emphatic it was, how quick it was. We might be seeing a different version of Derrick Lewis and in enemy territory. Let's unpack this real quick. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Boy, I wonder whose backyard that is. Is it Derrick Lewis or is it Jalton Almeida? I think that math solves itself pretty quickly. So, enemy territory, coming off of a big performance. Come on, get there. That's all right. First out of the second inning. Gets the man to second base. I think they've got it on out there. I think they've also got the game on out there. But the Spanish commentary or the Dominican commentary, the Portuguese, don't they just use Spanish in Dominican Republic? I've been using Spanish. People have been responding in Spanish. Now I'm listening to it. Guys, the amount of things I've heard just sitting in this hotel room while watching that Helwani and Sonnen video is hilarious. Fuck! What a catch. Wow. Outfielder brings it down. That's tough. That one stings. All right, 2 outs. Man on second. Bottom of the second. Let's get it going. I mean, it is 0-0. It's not like we're down. But I mean, geez, we were absolutely fucked in game 3. Or no, game 4? What is it today? Today's game 4. We'll see in a second. Whatever the last game was, there was one pitch that was so clearly a ball, and they called it a strike, and then that ended the inning. Yeah, Texas leads 3-1. And there it is. Wow. So if they win here, I think that's the end. I think Texas wins the World Series if they're able to beat the D-backs tonight, which would genuinely crush me. I might cry. It was so cool seeing the D-backs here. Oh, swing and a miss. 0-2. Come on. But either way, Derrick Lewis and Jalton Almeida, I think, has all the makings to be a really fun matchup, especially if we can extend Almeida into maybe round 2, maybe deep into round 3. Could you imagine? I mean, heavyweight action, guys, we usually like it to end quickly. We usually like it to, wrap up in the first round. But if anyone's going to take Jalton Almeida to some deeper waters and really give him some adversity, it would probably be Derrick Lewis. Now, I say this, and I understand that Derrick Lewis has had some really poor performances as of late. The Sergey Spivak fights. the Cyril Gahn fight. You look at I'm trying to think what the other one is. I know. Let's pull it up. First time I've had to go to the computer. Derrick Lewis Tapology. It's all running together. What is it? Yeah. Tai Tuivasa, Sergey Pavlovich, and Sergey Spivak. I mean, I completely forgot about the Pavlovich fight. And look at that. I mean, they were all done before the third round. Tai got him out of there in round 2. And Sergey and both Sergeys. Really, I mean, they have the same name. Perfect. They both come out of there in round 1, really quick in round 1. So maybe we're seeing. I was saying that this could be a good test, but on the same token, I would not be shocked if Jalton breezes right through him. Jalton is a guy who's breezing through people like butter knives through hot butter. So I wouldn't be stunned. I just hope that we get a good main event. I'm just hoping that we get some adversity for Jalton Almeida and a good performance from Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis is one of the more fun heavyweights. He comes, he swings, he bangs. There's times where I maybe question the willingness to stand in the pocket at this point in his career, at his age. It seemed like with a couple of those last fights, that's deep. Come on. Fuck. We head to the third inning. Still scoreless. Not fun. We needed to win these last 2 games, really. This is just not that great. Either way, so that is the main event of UFC Sao Paulo. And so great that we're going back to Brazil. Guys, this is excellent that we're getting on the road again more. We're reducing the time in the Apex. And I'm not sure when the last Sao Paulo card was or the last Brazil card was. But I am so grateful to see them getting out of, Las Vegas and returning to the road. I think global mixed martial arts is global, and we have to be showcasing that on a global scene. And Bane and the UFC are crushing it, in that regard. I guess another thing, we'll close on this one. Karate Combat 42, Edgar Scrivers and Luis Rocha rematching. This is a trilogy. This is the third time they fought each other. Rocha has a knockout over Scrivers, and Scrivers has a knockout over Rocha. They, I don't think, have fought since 2019, so it's been a minute since they've seen each other, and both guys have developed greatly. Of course, Rocha picking up the belt, defending it against Bruno Souza, and couldn't even tell you. I'm so sorry. I was just sitting next to him on the bus. I'm sorry, Luis, but he's strung together a good amount of defenses as the champion, and Scrivers in his own right has kind of earned this way back to the title with a win over Gabriel Varga most recently. And it's a collision of styles, truly, because Edgar Scrivers is a guy who has a mixed martial arts background, competed in MMA, and within Karate Combat's rule set, there is some grappling. I know that that's shocking. If you haven't watched Karate Combat, judging by the name, you'd probably go, oh, it's just striking. No, you can do takedowns, you can do sweeps, you can clinch. And Scrivers has used that to an insane amount of success, beating Gabriel Varga. Gabriel Varga was a Bellator kickboxing champion, a 2-time Glory champion. So he is a well-rounded stand-up specialist. And what Edgar's was able to do was ground him and score points with a ground and pound. On the striking, I felt like Varga was doing pretty well, and it was a split decision. One judge gave it to Gabriel Varga. Honestly, as much as I like Edgar Scrivers, if I'm being transparent, which I always try to be, I would have given it to Varga. However, that's just not the case, and Scrivers is now here with the opportunity to become the champion again. He was the first ever Karate Combat champion. First ever champion. Now he can do it again against the guy he's fought 2 times. I think it's a beautiful storyline. And in the Dominican Republic, no less, what a cool country to have this bout be in. I think Karate Combat is being pretty unique with where they're placing these fights. I mean, for better or worse, I know last month they did the DR as well. There was a ton of tech issues associated with it. Boom, get him out of there. But that's the risk that you run. You have to take risks, and you have to understand that things aren't going to go perfectly. And that's one of the big things that I love about Karate Combat. Now, the co-main event is a fight between Stephanie Oliveira and Caitlin, or not Caitlin. Hold on, we got to go back. We got to go back. I apologize to the Tapology because the last name is confusing. She is from Greece, and I'm definitely going to butcher the pronunciation, but I will certainly try. Super nice girl. Um, Really, truly enjoyed getting the chance to chat with her a little bit while we were doing the presser, which I believe comes out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But Stephanie Oliveira from Brazil and Christina Cavacopoulou from Greece, and they've appeared several times in the Karate Combat pit, and this is again history. There are two instances of history on this card. First, again, the trilogy in the main event for the belt, and then again, this is the strawweight championship, first female champion in Karate Combat history. It's beyond exciting. It's such a cool time to be in where you're on ground zero. I mean, this organization is just building. We've been here for about, I think 5 years is how long Karate Combat's been around for. I've been lucky enough to be here for the last year of it. And they just completely escalate and scale every single time. And putting a belt in the women's divisions, I think, is unbelievably important. I think it's, I don't want to say necessarily past due, but I'm glad that we're prioritizing it because some of these female fights are ridiculous. It's like the the female atom weights. If you watch any Invicta shows, these atom weights just get after it. And beautiful, brought it down. Excellent. 2 outs. We're about to bring it back to the D-backs. These atom weights are truly exceptional across the mixed martial arts landscape in Invicta. I think one has atom weights as well. Such fun fighters. I mean, they just go. They're Energizer bunnies. Same way with the females in Karate Combat. It is all out action. And then, I mean, you've got some other fantastic fighters on the card. Joe Miyahara from Japan is appearing again. This is his second Karate Combat fight. He is, I believe, the first Japanese fighter in KC history. So again, constantly breaking ground. One of the winners from the Kumite, one of the guys that got a contract from the Karate Combat Kumite. If you haven't watched it, please do. I got to do play-by-play for it. It was an unbelievable day of filming way back in May. It came out, I think, middle of August. Alejandro Brugal, who is from the Dominican Republic, he's fighting on the card. So it's going to be really awesome to see, a guy who went through, this is our version of the, Dana White's Contender Series, right? And then this was the first crack at it. Brugal came through, gets a contract. Now he's fighting in the promotion. And for me, again, it's just awesome because I got to be there for that day and witness it and be a part of it in the small faction that I was. So I don't know. I think that you should tune into both. Make sure you get your UFC Sao Paulo and also make sure you get some Karate Combat 42. Who knows? Maybe even see yours truly on the broadcast or in some social media in some way, shape, and form. But thank you again. That's what happened today. Helwani, Sonnen, Derrick Lewis, driving like a maniac. And we'll see you guys on Sunday to recap all the action. I'll see you.